Let's talk landscape design trends for 2023. I'll be honest, a lot of these trends really surprised me, especially this one. I'll talk about some of these unique trends in detail, but make sure you stick around to the end of this video because I couldn't fit them all into great detail. So at the end, I'm going to do this rapid fire of all of the trends that I've seen and that I'm predicting that are going to be popular in 2023. If you don't know me, my name is Amy, and over at Pretty Purple Door, I help home gardeners design landscapes that are uniquely you. So let's get into these top design trends for 2023. The first design trend of 2023 is mid-century mod vibes, almost like a retro feel in the garden. And this trend comes from an overall trend that I'm seeing called down aging. And people in general are very nostalgic and they're finding comfort in the familiarity of pursuits and products from older decades. I'm sure you've noticed this as well, like the comeback of these older shows or remakes of shows. I find that millennials and boomers alike are both into this trend of down aging and feeling that nostalgic feeling. Millennials are into vinyl and using turntables. They're watching Friends more than their parents even did when it was on TV. They're eating up remakes like A Star is Born, Pet Sematary, 90210, Fuller House. Like, these remakes are super popular. And this can also be translated into the outdoors. So millennials and boomers, they're challenging this mid-century mod and this retro vibe. You might start seeing this in garden centers or where you buy furniture. These retro metal lawn chairs are coming back. Pagoda umbrellas, and not necessarily old school plants, but more tropicals like colocasia and hibiscus and things like that. So be sure you're on the lookout for those things, and you can maybe ride the wave of this mid-century / retro down aging vibe. The second landscape design trend that I'm seeing is cutting gardens. And I really love this trend because anyone can participate even if you don't have the space outdoors. You can always grow cut flowers on your balcony or in containers or something like that. So I feel like it's a really cool trend that everybody can kind of participate in. So I'm seeing a lot more people that really want to grow their own cut flower garden instead of just buying cut flowers or appreciation of cut flower gardening. I'm seeing a lot more people wanting to buy seeds and wanting to grow those plants from seeds. So if this is a trend that you want to jump on, you can head over to North Lawn Flower Farm. She has a great channel that will show you a lot about how to do a cut flower garden and even how to mix cut flower gardening into your own landscape so you could have your cut flowers mixed in with the rest of your landscape. I'll put a link to a video for you in the description below, and you should definitely check her out. If I were to be getting started in cut flower gardening, what I would recommend is maybe just some easy grow from seed plants that you can try just to get started. Something like cosmos and zinnias you can definitely grow, like even if you had a back balcony or in a container, and they just are the gift that keeps on giving, and they can give you a lot of joy and a lot of pleasure for very little work. All you have to do is plant them and keep them watered. And sunflowers, they're super easy. You don't even have to do much of anything to them. Even sometimes in my own backyard, the birds will plant them for me. So try those and check out that video if you want to learn more about cut flower gardening and how you can integrate it into your own landscape. The next landscape design trend I'm seeing is moon gardens. So what exactly is a moon garden? Most people will call this a garden that has all white flowers. So you can go with that definition. A lot of people will only use plants that look nice in the moonlight, hence the moon garden. So nighttime plants that you can appreciate when it's dark outside, and some plants will actually only bloom at nighttime. So you can start to experiment with these different types of plants, and a lot of people will also include different scents into a moon garden. So thinking about plants not only as a visual experience, but using your other senses like the sense of smell to make a beautiful garden. And who doesn't want a beautiful moon garden to sit back and relax and grab a glass of wine at the end of a long day of work? I think a moon garden would be perfect for a patio area or somewhere where you're going to be sitting and lounging and enjoying at night. Plus, there's so many awesome plants that you can use in a moon garden. It can be difficult sometimes if you want to learn how to combine different plants that are the same color without it feeling like all blobby and messy. I do have a video. It's not about moon gardens, but it is about making a garden in one color. So I'm going to link to that as well. It's a purple garden, but you can use the concepts in that video so you can get an idea of how you go about designing your very own moon garden. The next landscape design trend I'm seeing or hearing a lot about is called Garden of Eden. And to me, this is sort of like a combination between cottage garden design, which has been around for a very long time, I think since the 1340s, and combining that with naturalistic or new perennial design and native plant gardening in general. So incorporating that wild, earthly Garden of Eden feeling into your own backyard. How do you go about doing this? Well, start with learning a little bit more about designing in the cottage garden style. And a big thing about cottage gardens is that they're combining ornamentals and lots of flowering plants with edibles, medicinals, and even herbs. So it's creating a garden that's not only beautiful but also functional. So combining that overall cottage garden aesthetic with the Garden of Eden concept, which is also adding this naturalistic or native planting to it. So not only are we planting a garden that is beautiful for us and edible for us, but it's also introducing pollinator friendly plants for the bees and for the insects, and not using pesticides in your garden, and creating this natural habitat where your garden is just buzzing with activity and introducing nature back into your own space. So I really love this thinking and this feeling of what the Garden of Eden really feels like to me when I hear that word, and just how peaceful and how tranquil that can really be. So this is one that I'm absolutely loving. So beyond just the bees and the insects and the smaller little creepy crawly friends that we have in our gardens, this also introduces a lot with birding and bird-friendly gardens, and providing habitat for birds and providing food for birds through berries, especially winter habitat, and making sure that the birds are taken care of in your garden as well. So my entire course, I feel like, is a way to integrate this. If you're having trouble just really trying to decide how to get started and you need a step-by-step plan, you can definitely integrate this Garden of Eden feeling into your landscape. If you check out my course, I'll show you exactly how to do planting beds that will give you that awesome layered landscape look that can not only be beautiful for you to enjoy, but also for all of Mother Nature to enjoy as well. Another really cool trend that I'm seeing is dip pools. So dip pools are also called plunge pools, dipping pools. It's just a smaller pool, so not necessarily like a big in-ground pool that you would have as a kid, but these smaller scale pools where you could just sort of lounge and relax in the pool. They take up less space, they're less maintenance, and they're also a lot easier to heat up. And if you have a smaller landscape and you want to enjoy a pool for extended periods of time, heating a smaller dip pool would be a really good option. It's sort of like a compromise between having a larger pool and just having a hot tub. So definitely check out dip pools if you're looking for something that you can have in your landscape that doesn't like overtake your landscape. A dip pool might be a great option for you. Another trend that I'm seeing, I'm just calling pavilions over pergolas. So I think pergolas were very popular for a very long time, and with good reason. They're very beautiful, but pavilions, for not very much extra cost, can really let you use your outdoor space for a lot more things. So if you're considering doing a pergola with just strapped beams across the top, consider topping it off and making it like a full roof structure. I'm seeing a lot of people going towards this trend so that they could use the space underneath the pergola in all kinds of weather to sit outside, watch television, enjoy movies with their families, eat outside. And with a pavilion, you really can do all of those things, and it's just a lot more practical for a little bit more money, but so much more use time that you'll get out of your garden if you do the pavilion over the pergola. And also great for lighting up the space too. The next trend I want to talk about is just color in general. So I'm seeing so much of this sun-baked terracotta-y tone. All of the main color companies at the beginning of each year, they'll release their color of the year. So Pantone, Graham and Brown, Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, Donna Edwards, they all release these lists of the colors of the year that they're predicting. And pretty much all of them are in this magenta slash alizarin, raspberry, almost terracotta, rosy color. So definitely check out that color, and I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of it in the stores when you go shopping too. Maybe you can pick up some planters or things like that in those colors, or even maybe your plants. You can introduce that clay or terracotta-y or coral color into your landscape just to jump on that trend. The next color trend I'm seeing is black, and I'm actually really surprised about this one because it's going so modern and bold, but black is definitely here to stay, and it's not too modern. The most popular way to incorporate black into your landscape without like feeling like it's gonna be too heavy is to use it in accent pieces, like maybe a border on a paver patio or a backsplash for your outdoor kitchen. Your outdoor containers and pots, and I see it a lot, even a charcoal gray or a black color on fencing or as a background accent wall in your garden looks so pretty, and it just really gives you a backdrop to leave all of your plants to pop off of that color, and I really love that look in the landscape. So be on the lookout for all of those magenta slash clay terracotta colors, and also think about ways that maybe you can make your garden feel a little bit more modern and add a pop of black somewhere. When we talked about the Garden of Eden trend, we touched on this just a little bit, but this trend is more climate resilient gardens. So not only beautiful gardens, swapping lawns for meadows, things like that, but it's also just really making gardens and landscapes that are well suited for the environment that you're in, whether you have a threat of wildfires, whether it's very windy, whether you have drought-like conditions, and really considering these things before you're choosing plants and really making a plan before you go ahead with the design. So not only is it, like I said, the swapping the lawns for meadows and being more like earth and eco and environmentally friendly with the things that we're choosing for our gardens, but also considering what may happen in the future and almost like future-proofing our gardens so that they can grow with us and sustain the environment that we're in without much of our effort in the long run. And I think this is such a great trend, and I'm loving seeing all of the really unique and awesome ideas people are coming up with to create landscapes that are unique to them and unique to their sense of place and where they live. Okay, so let's get on to this rapid fire section with a couple more trends that I've seen that I don't have much time to talk about. So the first is incorporating native plants, which we've already kind of touched on in a couple different sections. So this is definitely a trend. It's not going away. It's not necessarily new, but it's here to stay. Another thing I'm seeing a lot of is just trying to make the best use of your space. So a lot of vertical gardening options and using cattle panel fencing and growing upward. Privacy and creating privacy in your own space and choosing plants for privacy and creating privacy structures and things like that. Another trend I'm seeing is container gardening in general. Instead of planting right in the ground, growing in containers, moving your plants from here to there and having that flexibility of the container gardening, or maybe just introducing gardening into a space where you can't actually plant in the ground if you're renting or have an apartment or something like that. So container gardening is big. Another thing that I'm seeing is lighting and introducing more lighting options into landscapes and really trying to show off the landscape and use that lighting as a creative way to display everything around you instead of it being an afterthought, but really integrating that lighting into the landscape. Another trend I'm seeing happening a lot, I'll call upscale relaxation, and basically turning your home space into a vacation like getaway and really indulging in furniture and really spending the money to make the space unique to you and just make it a beautiful, relaxing getaway for you to enjoy. And that's the end of the rapid fire, but the overall theme that I think all of these can like go under the umbrella of just multi-purposing and making spaces work harder for you so that you can enjoy them more. So I'm thinking during the pandemic, a lot of us were stuck home and we started to think about our outdoor spaces because we couldn't go anywhere. And this is where all these trends started to sort of emerge. And the overall theme is just like, how can we make the best use of the space, the vertical gardening and the container gardening and moving things around and having a multi-purpose space, but also can I add lighting so I can see my moon garden at night, or so I can watch TV at night outside under my covered patio? Like, how can I extend that? Can I add heat so that I can be in my outdoor space for longer times in the year? So these are a couple of things to think about, that everything in this video kind of falls under that multi-purpose category, and how can we make these spaces really work for us? So if you're interested in learning more about this, I do have a workshop. It's called Garden Style Mood Board Workshop. It's a pre-recorded workshop. I did it live the first time, but it really takes you through this process and helps you to understand, like, what do you actually want out of your landscape? Like, what do you want the spaces to be? And then what's the overall feeling, and kind of how to put all of that together so that you can create a cohesive space, but also a multi-purpose, multifunctional space that's really gonna give you everything that you want from your landscape, plus a lot more. So if you want to check that out, go ahead, or you can check out my playlist. I'll put it here with all the different garden styles that you can choose from, and you'll get an idea of what you can do with that. And I'll see you over in the next video.